Hi, welcome to another episode of Legit Talk with Lavjeet. Today's episode is nothing short of an inspiration, and it's on a topic which is very close to my heart. We are diving into the incredible journey of a man who turned life's toughest challenges into stepping stones. In his 30s, he was diagnosed with multiple health issues, and doctors advised him to take it easy. But resting wasn't in his nature. Instead, he pushed forward, started his fitness journey that eventually earned him the extraordinary title of Ultraman. He has completed 12 half marathons, 7 full marathons, 5 triathlons, a half Ironman, a full Ironman, and ultimately the Ultraman, a feat only the most elite endurance athletes achieve. But that's just one side of him. Professionally, he is as accomplished. He is an engineer, an MBA, and CPA graduate in Canada, and a seasoned entrepreneur with diverse business backgrounds. It's my absolute pleasure to welcome Ravi Sandhu on my show. Welcome, Ravi. Hi. Hi, Ravi. Welcome to Legit Talk with Lavjeet. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here.
Hi, Lavjeet. Thank you for inviting me to the show. It's my great pleasure to be here with you.
So, Ravi, I would like to hear more from you about your medical condition and then what inspired you to participate in events like, Ironman and Ultraman.
I don't know whether it's for inspiration or necessity. Lavjeet, I've been a sportsman all my life, and I used to play a lot of racket sports, badminton, squash, table tennis, and play at a decent level. Played for state. Also participated in all season sports in college. Got lots of medals. But all these things stop when you finish your school and start your professional life and start building your career. There are a lot of conflicting pressures on your time. You want to network, you have a family to raise, and the sports take a backseat. And before you realize, all the bad habits start creeping into your life. A lot of eating, drinking, bad times. And one day I realized I was having a lot of high blood pressure. I was in my early 30s at the time, and went to a doctor. He went through all the tests. Besides the blood pressure, he also diagnosed that my heart was having a thickened muscles.
Oh, that was in 30s.
Yes, that 30s. So he was not happy with the observations, and so his advice was to look at my lifestyle, change that, reduce my excesses, introduce a little bit of more, stop the passive life, and have a little more activity in my life. I was a bit shocked at that time, and that's when I did some research. And you think at that time that everything is fine, you can keep going the way you are. But then I realized that I have to change my lifestyle a bit and add more activity into it, like I used to when I was younger. Change my habits. But then you realize that at that time it's not that easy. You're a sportsman. Sports means a team thing. So you have people you can play with. There's a team that you can join. But in mid-career, that's very difficult to go back to sports. You won't find a partner to play with. You can't be a part of a team. Our setup here is not like that. So I thought what I could do. What we can do alone was like something like running or walking. And that's a boring thing to do. So you have to walk for an hour or run for an hour. There was no excitement, there's no motivation. So, but I had to start it. So I started doing it, and first order of the day was to control the environment, meaning I didn't know when I was free. So I bought a treadmill, kept it at home. I was traveling a lot, so whenever I would get a time, I could start training. Then I was looking for more motivation to keep doing it because, as I said, it's very boring to just keep running. That's when I started looking at these kinds of competitions. Airtel was starting this series of half marathons, very popular these days.
And I guess that was way back in a couple of years when Airtel started in Delhi, right? You're talking about that point of time?
Yes, I'm talking 2006 or 7.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
So they had just started, and I enrolled in the first 7-kilometer run there. I could barely run 1 kilometer at the time. I was not into cardio events, just playing sports. So I started training for it. It was now fun. I had a target. So I was able to run, went there, enjoyed it. And there I saw the people running the half marathon, the 21 kilometer. So I said, hey, let me try that. So I signed up for that for next year and started training for that and gave me more incentive. So I kept on looking for events because that would motivate me to keep working at it. And I realized that all this really helped. I didn't have to really cut back on anything or stop anything, but maybe balance what I ate or drank. But with this routine, I was able to, all my medicines that the doctor had prescribed, they were gone. Like in 4 or 5 years, um, the problem that I was facing, it went away without medicine.
So that's interesting, Ravi. I mean, it's amazing that the health issues which you had, and as you mentioned, that the medication completely it was stopped. I mean, because the, I, people in 30s they are struggling with the sedentary lifestyle. Even I was the one when I started my say half marathons and things like that in 30s. Although I was not I didn't had any medical conditions as such, touch wood. But yeah, I mean that's great to know. Yeah, I would like to. So from here, then from running to say 1 kilometer to 7 kilometers, then half Ironman. I would also like to know how you reached then from there to Ultraman.
It was just a progressive journey, Lavjeet. I think I started enjoying setting up targets and meeting them. As I said, I was not a natural runner, and once I started getting these numbers and distances down, I started looking at the next challenge. And to your question, how I got into triathlons, it was just by accident. Around 2011, my family moved to Philippines. I used to travel there every month, and triathlon is a very big sporting event in Philippines. And triathlon, as the name says, is three disciplines: swimming, cycling, and running. And continuing from what I was doing, I decided to try it out. And a triathlon also starts with a small race, and then the big race is going to half Ironman and Ironman. And that's how I got my chance at trying out a new, different event, train for it, add cycling to my repertoire, even get better at my swimming. So, and it has all helped. It's like setting up newer targets, newer sport has given me the excitement to keep on doing it.
So Ravi, at which all places have you done your triathlons or half Ironman? Uh, because I believe you have attended events across the globe at several countries. So yeah, for the benefit of audience, I mean just interested in knowing that which all countries are. I mean, so I think it's across the globe now. All the countries are hosting such events. But yeah, which all events you have attended so far?
Not many countries, but yes, as I said, I started in Philippines and in many islands of Philippines. Philippines is a group of islands. So the first Ironman, first triathlon I did was on the Subic Island, Subic Bay, on the main island, Luzon, and the half Ironman I did was in Cebu. That's a separate island, but a small flight away. The Ironman and the Ultraman that I attempted were in India. Ironman in Delhi, and Ultraman was held in Himachal.
Oh wow! So Himachal, you have good terrains there, and I hope you might have enjoyed your runs and cyclings there. So okay, just for the benefit of audience, how much distance you need to cover in Ultraman? Because Ultraman, of course, it's the highest of all these events. So yeah, would like to hear from you.
Yeah. Okay. Ultraman is kind of it's like running 3 Ironmans over 3 consecutive days. So distance-wise, on a per-day basis, it's not as challenging as an Ironman, but the difficulty here lies in doing it over 3 consecutive days. So the recovery of your body in terms of muscle fatigue and your recovery of your energy management is much more difficult in an Ultraman. But to get an idea of the distances, an Ironman, which is the longest you can do in one day, it comprises of a 3.8 kilometer swim, which followed by a 180 kilometer bike ride and a 42 kilometer run. So my target to finish is between 14 to 16 hours in one day.
Every day.
So that's the Ultraman distance, so Ironman distance.
Yeah, but three Ironmans for 3 days to complete your Ultraman,
Yes,
right?
so the Ultraman is structured a bit differently, but you end up doing 12 hours a day.
And how much was your training time to to reach here so that you can for 3 consecutive days you can spend say 12 hours in a day doing your workout?
I'm training for Ironman is just to achieve the distance, and for Ultraman was to be able to get up the next day again and run. So that was the bigger challenge. My training, when I sign up for an event, it usually 2 to 3 months serious training. How I structure that is most of the time I'm just trying to reach my ability to run it. So I structure it like I train 2 hours a day. I take 1 or 2 days rest, and I keep the weekend open for a long cardio. So usually the whole Sunday from morning till evening is consumed by one of the events. So during the week, for the 2 hours, one is the strength training, the other is the cardio training. So I train on an incremental improvement basis. So I work so I make a chart about where I am on each thing. I break down my heart rate, my strength, my recovery, my time, distance. Work out on where I'm struggling. Like if I have problem with my hamstrings, or I'm having problem with my hydration. So I work during the week on those things. Try to take myself get the delta X improvement.
So basically, you have to, deep dive into each aspect of like the amount of rest you are taking, the workout you're doing, and of course, you might also be, working during your training days, which is really, appreciable because I mean, a person like me, although even I dream to do, triathlons and Ironman, but I'm still, not able to, I would say, manage my time in that way that I can, practice and simultaneously do my work the every day. So yeah, that's remarkable, and your achievements, I would say, they are commendable. So Ravi, I understand during your Ultraman, you had an accident, and while cycling, you went down 40 feet down, and you were unconscious for a long time. Would you like to tell me about in details about what happened, what transpired, and after that how you realized that something was wrong, or yeah.
Yes, Lavjit. During the Ultraman, the first day I finished my 10K swim, and the second half of the day was a 150-kilometer bike ride in the hills. So I had finished around 125-kilometer of the ride when I was pushed off the road into the valley, which was quite forested, and luckily forested because I fell down 40 feet and was unconscious for 2 hours, and my GPS wasn't working, so it took my
And when you say pushed off, I mean there was some car which pushed you off, or how was it, or you lost the
yeah, the exact thing is not still. I think have a little bit of a memory loss of the thing. But when I reconstruct the event, it probably I avoided something and I went off the cliff and probably got going downhill, and the momentum was quite high. I just went off into the valley, and yeah, so the trees probably broke my fall, but I ended up landing on my left side, and lucky for me, the femur bone joint didn't break, but it pushed into the pelvis, and the whole pelvis broke. It was completely shattered, so it had to be reconstructed. So, yeah. So
and when you said that even GPS was not there, so how the team found out there that how you were located in such a situation?
GPS stopped working or intermittent working. Yeah, it was. I was located by the GPS only. I came to, if I recall, I came to for a few minutes, and luckily my watch was still was connected, and I was able to talk and give some bearing of where I was. I could look up and see the some sign on the road, but then I was coming in and out of consciousness, and so I think we got lucky that it came on enough time for my team to locate me from there. Yeah.
So as you mentioned, that was really a bad accident, right? And so how much time it took, for you to recover, and were you advised by doctors that you can't do events anymore, or how was it?
To be honest, full recovery will not happen. The pelvis is totally stitched together, and the joint, I still have my original joint, but it is now arthritic. And the doctor said I was lucky he didn't have to replace at that time of operation, but it has to be replaced eventually. Whether it happens next year or 5 years from now, it depends upon how well I can manage it. So recovery it has taken me a while. I think to do the operation, he had to go through a lot of muscle mass, and my muscles are still not up to it. I've lost range of motion. Um, and I've gone back to doing the events. I've run a half marathon. I've cycled 100 kilometers. I can swim 3-4 kilometers again. But I cannot. I don't. It's the limit of my physical uh, body, or I start feeling if I push more, I'll end up hurting myself. So from the cardio perspective, I still feel I have enough. I can go further. My heart is supports me, but the physical side of it starts. I can start feeling the limit, and to push that limit, I've not found enough motivation at this point.
No, but that's inspiring. At least, even in such situation, at least you're able to do half marathons, and as you said, you have done 100-kilometer cycling, and you're doing a swimming. So yeah, that's I would say hats off to you, Ravi. You are still, in spite of being, having some injury, you are still able to manage at least such distances. So yeah. So okay. So, given the scenario, so are you still targeting any, upcoming major events, or you are just like taking it easy and whatever say you can complete? Say, for instance, you said you have done 100-kilometer cycling, or 3 for swimming, and then half marathons. Or are you targeting some major events like Ironman or Ultraman again?
I would love to go back to finishing at least one of these big events. But as I said, at a certain point, the physical limitations start appearing, and I'm trying to find the motivation to go past that physical limitation. And I think I've just recently decided that if I have a good company with me, with company, I'm hoping my son would take up one of these events, and I would find the motivation to compete with him, alongside with him. So that will be, I think, enough for me to go past the physical limitation I feel when I go past push past the 21-kilometer mark. I get into pain at that point. So to push past the pain, I need some motivation.
So for your son, as you said that your son might also join you, so have you been the inspiration for your son to do these events, or he was already into such events?
I think it's been mutual in some ways. I got into it, as I told you, for my reasons. He got into sports for his reasons. He has always been a big foodie, always struggled with his weight. He found a way to change all that through sports. And then he picked up, he looked at it probably to pick up running. And then for a while, we were competing against each other for the best time in the family at half marathons. And it was good fun. And me telling him that I'm twice your age and I can run faster than you, and he will come back with his times. So yeah, it's been healthy like that. Recently, he bought a bike to try the triathlon, and he's also in that age of this early part of his career. So trying to manage the time to train. So let's see if he registers for an event. It'll be motivation for me to start training. Yeah.
So Ravi, as you said about your son, regarding food. So when it comes to food, we Punjabis are, really fond of food and parties and things like that. So, are you while practicing for events? Are you on a stricter diet regime, or I mean, how do you take your diet, and are you able to control and manage your parties and alcohol limits, or how do you play it out?
Abhijit, I would like to look at it that food is an important part of a life, everyone's life, and why only for limited to when I'm training for an event? I think the best way what works with food is balance. So the balance has to be continuous. I think you should balance your meal. If that doesn't happen, you balance what you eat in a day. At worst, you can balance it over a week. Like when I'm traveling on a vacation, I don't get time to exercise every day, and I do end up indulging in food with friends and drinks. So there also I try to pick up, say, a couple of hours so I can do my long run, burn out something. So try to balance maximum over a week.
So during your travel also you're able to manage at least some runs.
Yes, see, um, when I say balance, you have to pick out these 4 or 5 things in life. Exercise is one of them, eating, drinking, all of them. So you have a perfect mix, and that doesn't happen every day.
Yeah.
So you'll be going up and down depending on your priorities, but never give up anything. So I'm not an advocate of give up your eating, give up your drinking, but you keep it in within a scope where it is not hurting you. Or so that's my advice to people. Like you don't have to give up one at the expense of the other.
So Ravi, I mean, when you train, so like, even you might have heard people talk a lot about pushing your limits while practicing for such events. However, on the other hand, we have also seen some unfortunate scenarios, during our events. Even I have personally seen doing my half marathons or marathon that, unfortunately people collapse and, they have a heart failure or, things like that. So what is your view? What is your advice in such situation that while training or during an event, and of course, during an event, we all are in a flow. At times, we ignore our body signals. What is your view? I mean, how should people take care of this while practicing or even while participating in the event?
You're right, Lavjeet. I've also got many forwards on unfortunate accidents happening, events happening during training or events, telling me to slow down. Well, the way I look at it is not about pushing the limits is the bigger thing here. I would look at it as knowing your limits and managing your limits. So as I said, the training, I was talking about my training regimen when I do, I break down into very different parts. So all these parts are what you have to monitor regularly. Your heart rate, your recovery rate, muscle fatigue. So and the strength, all these things are part of your training. So most of the accidents are avoidable that way. So people say they feel that they can run because they have the cardio, but they forget that they are not managing the energy well, and so they are dehydrating, having problems with getting some injury somewhere, or vice versa. They are strong, but they have not checked, they have not gone to the doctors regularly. They don't have the parameters in front of them, so they are not managing their limits properly. So this should not be done in isolation. You have to know yourself. We should not be avoiding an annual physical exam, and they should be monitoring all your charts properly, so you know where the limits are, and then incrementally increase them.
And I believe the mantra is, to practice regularly and don't hit the events in just, in a moment of heat. And unless you are completely practiced, in my view, you should not go and participate in any event. I think that's another thing which at least I have, realized.
Yes, I agree with you, Lavjeet. At worst, like if not very serious thing, you can get very easily injured if you're not practiced enough. It's a lot in endurance events. A lot of things go on. When you're managing your energy, you're managing your hydration. These two things that by itself can cause you damage,
Yes.
serious damage with the muscles. You were running without realizing it's too hot. You suddenly feel completely dehydrated. The muscles will cramp up completely, and they can have very serious damage. So yes, you have to understand what you're doing. It's all about how the whole body works. You have to do a little bit of and when you manage your limits, you can push them.
Yeah, yeah. So Ravi, okay, what changed in your, because every sport has or an impact on your, say, professional and personal life as well. So what changed in, of course, in addition to improvement in your medical conditions and health conditions, what else changed in your life after being, say, more into the sports or more into, say, triathlons, marathons, and, Ultraman?
It may sound like a cliche, but yes, sports directly impacted the way I worked. Um, Major part of my work is project management, and they are complex projects, multidisciplinary. Um, but planning and training for an event actually meant I have to break down the whole event into smaller problems, deal with my find my strengths, find my limitations, deal with them, improve them on an incremental basis. This works perfectly in a project management situation. You, you have to deliver something, that's exactly where you start. So breaking down a big problem into very small parts, working up slowly, incrementally improving where you're weak, and it all falls into place.
So I would say that attention to detail started in your professional life as well after this. I think which is important in in every sphere of your life.
I don't know what came first, but yeah, definitely it enhanced it. Yeah, it really helped me uh, deal with my professional work also. In hindsight, I think it really helped me. Yes.
Okay. So Ravi, okay, what message would you like to give to the youngsters or teenagers? Because times have changed, lifestyles have changed. Of course, we can see the younger generation now again focusing more on their health, on their lifestyles, on their eating, drinking habits, which was probably not the case when say people like us were in 20s or 30s. But still, I mean, we see there's a sort of mixed baggage. So what say advice, or what advice would you like to give to youngsters?
Yes, Lavjit. When I faced this issue in my 30s, since then I've been conscious about people around me, and I realized that my mind is not a unique case. A lot of my friends, my batchmates, and even younger people that I meet now, have gone through very similar journey in terms of the problems in life, like the lifestyle diseases, which are basically a blood pressure, diabetes, or sugar, and also early onset problem with the backs, with the knees. And in all of these, the common thread with the doctor will be to have a more active lifestyle, increase. I've realized that one cure of the knee problem is to strengthen the muscles around the knee. It really works. But the problem here is that I think it's a chicken and egg story here. You need muscles to exercise, and need exercise to build muscle. So what comes first, right? So when you start doing it at a later age, it is not easy to build the muscle because you have other issues. You have a weight issue, you have other, and it's more difficult, and people give up. Um, so, and the human body is much more receptive to build muscle at an early age. It is at a growing stage. So, my lesson, my advice, especially to my kids now, is to pick up a sport, or start a training regimen, something that you can continue at early age and build the initial muscle. Then, even if you're like going through a period of passive life, when you want to get back, it's much easier to get into a routine, build back. So uh, I can't emphasize the importance of this enough to our young children, that don't take it too lightly and don't leave it too late.
No, that's interesting. And in fact, so at least in your case, I'm sure you are a role model for your kids, and because till a certain age, at least kids look up to their parents, and parents are the role models. So I'm sure your kids might have they might have been really inspired from you. And yes, it's good to note that at least your son is also now, at least he has initiated his journey here. So yeah, that's interesting. So okay, Ravi, 5 tips which you would like to give for people who intend to participate in such events, and especially those who are in their, say, 30s or 40s, because we see there are many examples, in fact, especially for, say, running or marathons. People in fact have started their running journeys in 60s as well, and they've done pretty well. So I think age is just a number, as we say, especially for these things. But what is, since you have so much of experience here, what are 5 practical tips which you would like to give?
I don't know whether there'll be tips, but I can tell you in 5 parts, 5 steps, that what I would do to plan for any event. Like, the first step will be, as I had mentioned earlier, to find the metrics that I want to work on. For each event, they could be a bit different depending upon the ask of the event. The second will be to set up incremental gains for that metric. Third is to monitor them comprehensively. Both, I usually train for 2 to 3 months, and because I do incremental training, I cannot afford to be lax or giving up in the middle, because that means I have to go back to ground zero again. So don't give up on the training part, the continuity of the training. Yeah. So, and the fifth and the final is to manage your energy and you fuel well. So,
Yeah,
these are the
that's
5 things I think I would follow to for any event.
yeah.
Yeah.
But and I think another could be, eat right and party moderately, especially when you are near your events. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and Ravi, when especially after injury, when doctors advised you to take it easy, so but you still you were motivated, and I'm not sure whether saying that you went against the advice would be a right term, right? But yeah, still, what made you to again, go there? Was it your instinct, or was it your,
That's a good question, Lavjeet, and the one I still haven't got the right answer. I've met many doctors regarding my injury, and I've got quite diverse opinions on this thing. And some would outrightly say not to get into all these activities that impact that area. Um, so the reason for their saying no is that supposedly I have to have a hip replacement in the near future. And as per my doctors, if I go back to my sports, it'll happen sooner than later.
okay,
So the impact of a hip replacement means that I may not be able to do these sports after the replacement.
okay,
So the way I look at it is, if I stop it now, it's as if I'm having a replacement today, even not having it done. So based on that analysis, I've read a lot about it. Some of the doctors are also of the opinion that I should do whatever I feel like doing, and up to my pain limits, up to my ability to bear it, and when it has to be done, it will be done.
So given your love for sports, you have basically, you have, say, in a way, slightly delayed the process so that you can, at
I-
least do some more, events. So that's interesting.
So as for the doctors, I'm telling them that I'll do it, and then if it's an injury, let it be, because I'll stop later. But I'm hoping that with my activities, I'm able to delay, because I firmly believe I can delay the deterioration of the skeletal structure by getting a strong muscular support system. So that's something that it's worked with my wife also. She had a problem with the knees, and we're also considering all these deep injections and maybe knee replacement. But eventually, she worked a lot on strengthening the muscles in the legs and around, and things are getting better. So I believe that still believe that by doing all this, I'm actually delaying my hip replacement.
And Ravi, I believe you're also fond of hiking and scuba diving, and you also have that scuba license, right?
Yes, Vijit, yes, I do. Um, I'm actually fond of things. I discovered these things quite late, and when I see again in the Philippines, it's an island, and it is one of the best coral reefs. Um, some say better than the Great Barrier Reef of Australia. And how do you enjoy the coral reefs? I went snorkeling one day on the first trip, and what you see under the water is amazing.
Yeah.
It is it's a different color, different shapes, different life altogether, and that's just on the surface. You go deep, it's altogether different. And the one way to enjoy that is to scuba diving.
Scuba diving. Yes.
So we, as a family, the whole family is licensed, and we started. See, our family is also quite in different countries, and at this point, in 5 different countries, 5 people. We meet once a year, twice a year, and we use extreme events or some common adventure to bond.
That's nice. That's nice.
Yeah, so we can build on new stories around. So otherwise, it's difficult to get into each other's life in a short notice. So scuba was one example. We did that a lot. I went on and did advanced diving courses also. So I'm an advanced diver. Uh, so same thing with hiking happened. My son got into hiking and skiing. So he does very high intensity hikes, 20, 30 kilometers, 5, 6,000 feet elevation gains, snow capped peaks, maybe a lake at the end of the hike, glacial lake. He'll go and have a dip there. So that has also become to go on a full 1 day hike with him, 20, 30 kilometers. That gives us time to bond again.
Yeah, yeah.
And I find that when you're physically, you keep your fitness at a level, you're able to translate it to other events also. And
so that's good that at least these sports have helped you to have a great bonding with the family as well.
Yes.
Because of course, I mean, as you mentioned that kids are at the growing stage, that they're studying somewhere. You are here, so at least when you all meet, say once or twice a year, as you said, so you have several things to do together, and that there are several. I mean, in addition to the general stuff which a family does, it's more of a sports get together for you guys, I would say.
yes, yes, the planning of it, finding the place for it, the location, doing the background survey, preparing, and then after doing the event, and then the stories you come out of it. So it's it bonds us well. Yes, yeah.
So thank you, Ravi. Thank you so much for the interesting conversation. I must say that there's a lot of takeaway for me today, because I have been, trying to participate in these events other than, my general half marathons or marathons, but I'm still not able to do it. So I'm clear today that at least I lack discipline. The work is not an excuse, and I need to do something more. So it's an absolute inspiration from you today, and I'm sure that audience would also, get inspiration from you after listening to your story. Thank you very much, Ravi. Thank you for coming here.
Thank you, Lavjeet. It was a pleasure coming here. Thank you.
Many thanks to our cherished viewers for watching this episode. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below or email at legittalkwithlavjeet@gmail.com.